August 26, 1930, in a private hospital in East New York owned by the doctor. My mother came from Poland and my father came from Russia. They both migrated to the United States in 1924. And so we lived in East New York, an area where many immigrants lived. We were 5 boys in my family.
What if I would tell you the story?
1938, I was 8 years old.
My brother Sam had double pneumonia.
In those days, it was a very serious thing. He was in the hospital, and my uncle, Charlie,
had me put in the Bethel Hospital because he felt it was too much for my mother to take care of 2 kids, you know.
She had to go to the hospital every day to visit my brother. He just sent me to the hospital.
There was nothing wrong with me, but he put me in the hospital.
He had the doctor call an ambulance. They said I had a pain in my back, which I didn't have. And they took me to the hospital and put me in a contagious disease ward, you know, with chains around the thing. And he got cured from pneumonia, and after 2 weeks they let me out. So we were both very weak. I couldn't walk, I sit in bed for 2 weeks. They decided to send me and him together.
Now we got to go to a convalescent home, state run, up in Nyack, see?
Every week they weighed you. If you gained 1 or 2 pounds, they gave you a different color ribbon. When you got the gold ribbon, you could go home.
No, I've never been away from home, you know, and the food, I wasn't used to the food.
Anyway, one Sunday they called out the names of people going home. My brother Sam, but they didn't call my name, so I started to cry. My brother Sam went down to the office, and he said, look, either we both go or we both stay. I said, all right, take him out of here. They let me out.
Meanwhile, Walter gets sick, and they're going to send him to the same convalescent home. So I stopped, you don't want to go. I tell him, listen.
So I started to tell him, look, it's a terrific place.
Every kid gets a private electric car to ride around.
9 years later, you go to town, he says, you go to town,
drive your own car.
pay rides every night.
Pay rides.
You wouldn't believe it. It was like a concentration camp.
He gets there, he finds a concentration camp.
Barbed wire, God, with a powers.
So he went, and the first letter he wrote, you son of a bitch lying bastard. Me, because it was like a concentration camp.
2 of my brothers and their wives are with us today, and 2 of my brothers and their wives are missing. We shall always remember Sam and Shirley, and as you know, we were 5 boys in my family, and Sam was the leader of the family. Even when my mother and father were alive, Sam was the leader of the family. And when Sam passed away, the mantle of leadership fell to the ground, and none of us have been able to take his place. My brother Herbie and Molly made a lot of reservations and plans to come to this affair, and were anxiously looking forward to it. But unfortunately, Herbie suffered a stroke early this week, and yesterday in the synagogue, we said a prayer for his full and early recovery.
You know, as you know, my brother Sam was an accountant, CPA. My brother Herbie was a physicist. He worked for the government for 30 years. My brother Lewis worked for St. Martin's Press for 30 years as the best salesman in the metropolitan area. And my brother Walter was an attorney. So we're all professionals. And we had a very good relationship.
Mickey, happy birthday. I want to thank you for a million things, but just mentioning a few. You gave me employment when I really needed it. You had me working for Stelber Industries as a file clerk. But since the statute of limitations is over, I can admit something to you finally. When I was filing, I did my best, of course, but I have to confess, almost everything that I filed was under miscellaneous. So we have probably a 7-foot miscellaneous folder at Stelber. Then you had me working at Castagna Electronics. I was weighing screws and nuts and bolts. It was a great job. I enjoyed it. You employed me as a driver. Sometimes I drove you around, and one time we drove to 42nd Street, and you told me to meet you at a certain time after your appointment. I was there at the prescribed time, circling, as you said. However, I had to circle for a half hour because you never showed up. Finally came out of the building. I was so happy because I thought I'd be circling around there forever. I'm wishing you a very happy 80th birthday, Mick. A Zisa life, a long life from your brother, Lou. And also I remember what Maya's brother Max said to me, Laser, Zeinisch kann Beser. So, love from your brother, Laser.
Mickey, this is a very poor substitute for a glass of scotch or a martini. But I'll have to use this to wish you a very happy birthday, many, many more, and I'll look forward to another birthday party next year. Cheers, l'chaim, happy birthday.
How I met Marvin Cohen, Mickey, with the thick curly blonde hair that he couldn't comb. Jeannie called me, do I want to go to New York? I was not even 16. I said, I have to ask my parents. It was April and it was cold. I see this guy with a brown suit full of flour packing rolls and a bakery bag. Who the hell is this? That's my date. Nobody told me I was having a blind date. So we went to Belmont, the racetrack. And you can't go on the highway because we went in the bakery truck. We sat on a porch love seat that was made of wicker, that was on an angle and bounced, and there was nothing holding it, don't ask. It was a hell of a ride. April 16th. The boys never paid any attention to me in high school. After I got engaged, ooh, like bees to the honey pot. It's okay, screw them all. We got married that January after I graduated. And Grandpa said, Zeta said to him, how are you going to support her? But we managed, all 4 kids and us. Don't ask me how, but we managed.
I want to tell you something. William, the funny part of it is that I don't know if you plan to have a family or not, but I didn't plan to have any family. I just had a family, you know? And now I'm not sorry, you know? I mean, I'm happy about it.
When I was in my 30s, I was having a hard time, and he said to me, we will stick together. And that's what we do. And that's what family does. He's not afraid of anything, and he doesn't let anything stop him. And that is a great, great gift to have as a daughter. Before I got married to my wonderful wife Liz, I decided I wanted to change my last name from Robtoy to Cohen because I just felt like a Cohen, and I wanted to start my family as Cohens. And now, you know, I have my son Caden, and he's Caden Cohen. And, you know, I can teach him all the things that, you know, my grandfather taught me, and still, you know, still will teach me.
When I was a freshman in college, I was driving home for vacation, and I hit a car in front of me, and my head went to the windshield. It looked worse than it was, and they took me to a Holiday Inn where I checked in. I called up my parents. It was about probably 11 at midnight at that point, and I said, you know, I'm okay here, and I'll figure out some way to get home. In the middle of the night, they drove from New York to Westchester, Pennsylvania, which is a good 3 hours away, and picked me up at 3 in the morning and drove me home. Even though a blizzard was starting, and even though that next morning my father had to go to Kennedy Airport early in the morning for a trip overseas. And it taught me a lot about what being a parent is. And this is back from the days when parenting wasn't a verb, it was actually a status. You weren't a parent, you weren't actually somebody who did parenting.
Many Americans of my generation learned their first lessons about the Great Depression, not from history books, but from their parents. I grew up with my father's stories of the hard times he and his brothers endured as children in a Brooklyn ghetto during the 1930s. I want to thank him for sharing those stories and sparking my interest in Depression America. He always said to me that going into teaching and being a historian is something that's important, not to get puffed up about yourself, but because you can put something back into the community. So I think that really speaks to kind of a sort of these values that I think are really quite, I think, in the right place about what's important and being open.
Is it upside down?
I don't know. You know, we'll know when we see it.
Get the nails.
Of course, of course.
His grandpa's been there since the very beginning. He's really kind of like a father to us, to me, and a grandfather to Elwood. No matter what we ask, he always says yes. He's always there when you need him. He's actually awesome. And we're actually lucky to have a grandfather at our age and a great-grandfather at his age, because most people don't have that.
I remember when I was younger, they had the Cabbage Patch Kids came out. You couldn't get them anywhere. I really, really wanted the Cabbage Patch Kid. It's just hard to say because my grandfather bought the Cabbage Patch Kids on the black market for $75 each. He had to get 3, me, my sister, my brother. And he got me the exact one I wanted. When my mom came home from the city, I stayed up late because she worked late, and because I knew she had them and I wanted to see it. And it was the exact one I wanted. I was really excited about it.
He taught me how to golf, and I'm proud of that, and I'm thankful.
There are not many grandfathers that can say that they play golf with their grandson almost every week. And I've been playing golf for 40 years. Jason's been playing golf for 4 months. And the only way I can beat him is to cheat on a scorecard.
On the first tee at Lido Golf Course on the weekends, everybody was waiting, you know, behind the tee to tee off. So there's a lot of people there. And they're on the first tee, the 18th hole runs parallel, so they're hitting into you. And they hit the ball right into the tee box and did not call for it. So as the cart, the guy in the cart was approaching, my grandfather went up to the ball, laid down next to it, with the ball next to his head. And as the guy got out of the cart to approach him, my grandfather stood up and said, "Next time, call for it." He got in the cart and drove away.
There's so many stories that I could tell about him, but one particular one stands out in my mind. He came back from a trip one time to Europe, and I asked him how his trip was. He said not too bad, but he had a trainload of tiles to sell, and he couldn't find a marker for the tiles. I said, why? It's unusual. You can't find a marker for tiles. He said, there's a little problem with them. I said, what could be a problem with a tile? He said, they're self-adhering tiles. I said, so what? He said, the paste was on the wrong side.
I remember we were staying at La Costa, this resort in Southern California. The question was where were we going to sleep. My father snores like a hurricane. I was forewarned, don't stay in the same room with him, but there were no other rooms. I said, it'll be okay. But in the middle of the night, it was so loud, not only couldn't I sleep, I couldn't even think. It was like the room was shaking. So his friend Franzi Deutsch, his business associate, was in another room, and I knocked in the middle of the night, and he said, oh yeah, come on. He just laughed. And I told my father about it, and it was just sort of a story he would always laugh and tell about too.
So at Franklin College, when you graduate, you go up to the stage, and they ring Franklin's bell 3 times if you've had a 3.5 grade point average. So the bell rings, ding, ding, ding. And then if you get a 3.3, the bell rings twice. If you get a 3.0, the bell rings once. So I went up to get my diploma, and there was no ring at all, because I had a 2.7. So I sit down next to my father, and he says, well, Steve, you won the Nobel Prize.
My Zeta used to say that my father never spoke that much, but when he spoke, they were pearls.
My father's sense of humor and his ability to poke fun at the world is something that I think all of his children have, and it's one of the things that I'm grateful for.
Shirley and I feel like we're the luckiest people in the world because we have such a wonderful family.
I'm 80 years old, August 26th, 2 months from now. And I have to say that I'm the luckiest man alive because I have 4 children, 6 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren. My wife and I have been married about 60 years, so I have everything I need.
Herbie and Molly, Walter and Miriam, Louie and Marcia, Lenny and Lillian, Arthur and Sonia. Without these people, without their help and their love, Shirley and I would not have attained the lifestyle that we now enjoy. You know, in the 40 years that we've been adults together, I can't remember not one instance of a harsh word or ill feeling between us. And I think I've said this before, but I think that that is our family is our real wealth. It's all the wealth we have, and we don't need any more than that.
Happy birthday, Dad!
Out of the tree of life I just picked me a plum. You came along and everything started to hum. Still it's a real good bet, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? You think you've seen the sun, but you ain't seen it shine. Wait till the warm-up's underway. Oh, wait till our lips have met. Wait till you see that sunshine day. You ain't seen nothing yet. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? The best is yet to come the day you're mine.
You can appreciate this. I was up all night trying to figure this out. There's so much to say, but I'll be brief. I've known Mickey for 55 years, as a brother-in-law, as a business associate, and above all, as a friend. In spite of it all, I still like him. We have shared many great times together, and I'm very happy to add this wonderful occasion to that list. At this time, I'd like to welcome Mickey into the exclusive club of octogenarians. So let's lift our glasses and wish a heartfelt l'chaim to the biblical 120 to the Mick. L'chaim.
We're here to celebrate the 80th birthday of my grandfather, Marvin Cohen. It has always been clear to me that Mick was a special person. My grandfather is selfless. He would do anything he could to help anyone in this room with no concern for his own welfare. It is the basis of his character. It is what draws people to him above all of his other exceptional attributes. Happy birthday, Grandpa. Thank you for being such a tremendous part of my life and everyone fortunate enough to cross your path. And most importantly, thanks for coming.
Each brother gave each other something special. Sammy gave us determination. Herbie gave us brilliance. Mickey gave us personality. And as you can see from everybody here, a great personality. My mother said once to a woman who was a second cousin came in, and she was not attractive, and my mother was a very gentle and fine woman, and she says, I have eyes. By the same token, Mickey, look around. Look at all these people here. It's amazing. They all love you, they all respect you. And I think it's a phenomenal thing.
It's called our family. Our ancestors, people of the horse. Their genetic structure, our source. Without they dressed in finery, stable garb no doubt, there lies the irony, the inner threads we shout. Now, a family of professionals, Freudian confessionals, attire pleased to please, pressed to please. Our clarion still the chauffeur, still new year of good deeds. Now, peoples of the car.
If you look on the pens that you were given for this this party, you'll notice that it's not only my father's 80th birthday, but we're coming up on my mother and father's 60th wedding anniversary. So that means, if you do the math, right, 80 years old, 60 years married, that the majority of his life he's been married to my mother. So I want to say something about my mother. Now, the way I often think about her is connected to her birthday, which I can never remember. I think it was the day after Pearl Harbor Day. That is very explosive, very dynamic, and not shy. And I think that characterized all of the Ballas clan, that if Lillian or Butchie or Shirley comes into a room, you know they're there. Right? I've had confrontations with chancellors. I had an interview with John Ehrlichman, who was Nixon's aide, and at the end of the interview, when I was confronting him, he asked my fellow historian, said, "Who was that son of a bitch?" And I think that comes from my mother. So I want to say happy 80th birthday to my father, and I want to say for all of us, happy 60th anniversary to the newlyweds, Shirley and
Her maiden name was Shirley Ballas, and that's who I am. I'm Sarah Ballas Warner, and I want to wish Mickey a happy birthday, and I'm so thrilled to be here because I wanted to see everybody. Shirley and I have been not only first cousins, but very close as friends, and have seen each other over many years until we got older and couldn't manage. But most of all, I want to say this. Every time we talked about our children, and today I realize what happened, is I see them as little children because we spent the years in the mountains, all of us, and we enjoyed each other and we remember each other from that time. But mostly I see them and I'm grown-up people. They're mothers and fathers, and I can't hardly believe it, even though my own children are grown and married and have children of their own. But most of all, I want to wish them many years, happiness and good health. Mickey for his birthday, and both of them for their anniversary. And to say hello to everybody that I haven't seen in many, many years. Thank you.
Unfortunately, 4 weeks ago, I got the surprise from God. He struck me down with a stroke. You know, 40 years ago, I had 2 homes, 5 cars, a maid, a chauffeur named Julio. I'm president of American Stock Exchange Company, multinational company, which I built from nothing. I thought I had everything. Now, 40 years later, I realize it was nothing. Because today, I'm the richest man in the world. And all of my wealth is in this room. My wife, Shirley, I've been married to her for 60 years.
God bless you.
She's traveled around the world with me many times. And she stuck with me through thick and thin. My 4 very accomplished children. My 2 daughters-in-law, I'm sorry. My 2 daughters-in-law. My 6 grandchildren. My 2 great-grandchildren. And all of my friends who are here in this room today. And last but not least, Letty Kefner, who's been my best friend all of my life. And to whom I will be eternally grateful for all of his help to me. And I welcome all of you to this wonderful party. Thank you.